Hashtag Young Gang got her.
I wasn't quite ready.
Just kind of snuck up on you, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, are you guys ready for a new Bible study this week?
I'm ready.
Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, last time, if you don't remember, we pretty much laid out all the rules and regulations for the second temple Judaism. So that's what we were doing last time. There was a little bit of dick measuring, but, for the most part, it was just laying down rules. Next, we're going to fast forward about 2 years, and this is 2 years after God changed all the rules. Easy gets another message from God, but this time it's about Tyre. God admits to failing in his prophecy about Nebby being able to take the island city of Tyre, but as a consolation, he does end up fucking up that inland city, the old Tyre. So as kind of like a you tried kind of award, God still gives Nebuchadnezzar Egypt. And God says that he's going to give someone a horn whenever Nebby takes it over. I don't know what the horn's about. It's probably like one of them antler things that you blow in. Kind of like those people had at like Trump's inauguration or whatever.
Yes.
They blew in it and everything, and it was nasty. Next, we don't know what became of Ezekiel, but he probably ended up joining a traveling circus.
Okay.
He was probably one of those, like, fortune tellers there. Like, God's gonna fuck you up. That's pretty much his only prophecy.
Right.
And now we're going to be going into Daniel a little bit. Not into Daniel, but, we're going to be reading from Daniel. Nebuchadnezzar is going to sign an executive order that Yahweh is the most high God and that we are now all half Jewish.
Okay.
Partially Jewish because he's still a polytheist, but he's like, God's dick is the best dick.
Yeah.
Nebby then has a dream and nobody around can interpret it except for Daniel, because obviously Daniel is the one that's going to tell him the worst interpretation that you could possibly get from it.
Sure.
Yeah.
Damn, Daniel.
Damn, Daniel. Why you gotta fuck shit up? So anyways, here's what Nebuchadnezzar's dream was. Basically, he dreamt of the giant world tree, Yggdrasil. I don't know how to pronounce it.
What?
Yeah, it's in like Norse mythology.
Oh, okay.
I believe Yggdrasil.
Ocean could probably help you with that.
Maybe, but Ocean's not here right now. I'll probably hook up with him after this. Anyways, and apparently good shit's just everywhere, like in the tree, below the tree. Think about that giant tree from Avatar.
Mm-hmm.
That
Is
kind of
that kind of tree?
It's that kind of Yggdrasil.
That's a nice tree.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So anyways, someone comes up to Nebby. This messenger comes up to Nebby and told him to fuck that shit up. The tree he's like, fuck that shit up like that military bro in Avatar. Mm-hmm.
Rude.
He wants to fuck it up and get that unobtainium.
That's just rude.
It's weird how I can pronounce unobtainium, a fictional metal on a fictional planet, but I can't pronounce Yggdrasil.
But I mean, that's a normal word. Like,
is it?
Yeah.
Okay. Anyways,
unobtainium. I mean, it's words. It's just a combination of words we already use.
I guess that's true.
But I mean, that other word is. No.
Anyways, the messenger says some weird shit about the tree, and then of course he wants Nebby to cut it down, or somebody's going to cut the tree down. Someone's going to fuck that tree up. And Daniel says that, of course, as always, this is a warning from God. God's going to fuck Nebby up because of his pride. He's too prideful and everything, so God's going to take him down a few pegs.
That's what God does.
I know, and that's why God sends him these dreams. God then tries to make Nebby worship him more, so he gives him schizophrenia, like any good friend would do. Just a little dash of schizo on him, and he has him talking to a dog, or a group of dogs, a pack of dogs, maybe some werewolves. I don't know.
I mean, to be fair, lots of people talk to dogs. That doesn't make them crazy.
What
Dogs are just better conversationalists than a lot of.
Oh, yeah?
I mean, yeah, you've talked to other people, right?
Yeah. All right. So anyways, Nebby got back to normal. Oh, Nebby can get back to normal if he renounces his sin and only sucks Yahweh dick. That's the way that you do it.
Yeah.
Renounce sin, suck dick.
And that checks out.
Yeah?
I mean, for Yahweh God,
Yeah, for Yahweh. Nebby is fucked up though, from the schizophrenia. So he doesn't do that.
What does he do?
Instead, he just sort of stared at his dick in the mirror,
What?
and he did that for a few years, maybe.
It does not say that in the book.
I mean, it says that he stared at his pride, or he marveled in his pride, or whatever, or his glory. His glory. That's what it was.
It does not say that.
It says something about his glory. At the end of 7 times some sort of time period, he finally looks away from his dick in the mirror and praises Yahweh.
I mean, maybe it's just a really fantastic penis. You don't know.
But anyways, that's how you cure people of schizophrenia.
Nope, that's not how you do it.
Now we go to Jerry. If you don't remember, Jerry foretold something about Jehoiachin, and Jehoiachin was in jail, more than just his chin though. Jehoi in general was jailed, and he got released by Nebuchadnezzar's son, and then Jehoiachin was given like a place of prestige or holy chair, or he just got a special chair, probably something from Amazon that's really cushioned, and he was just treated really well. He was even given a weekly allowance all up until the day he died.
What an allowance for doing fucking nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
An allowance for just sitting there being silent, not doing shit, not stirring shit up.
What?
That's what he got an allowance for.
Nobody said he had to be quiet. I thought you were talking about me. I'll give you an allowance if you sit over there and be quiet.
You want me to shut up?
I thought I was talking about you saying that about me, because I was saying I want an allowance.
Okay.
For doing nothing.
Okay. All right. I'll give you an allowance for doing nothing.
What? I have a job.
You do?
Yes. You know this.
Yeah. What's up, heathens?
How y'all doing?
How are you doing, honey?
I'm fine.
Yeah? Okay, good. Well, apparently I got some things wrong.
Yep.
I want to say that Nebuchadnezzar definitely looked at his dick in the mirror.
It does not say that.
But we can't rule it out.
I mean, I don't know. When did mirrors get invented? I mean, we might be able to rule it out. Because this is like in 570, 80 some odd BCE. So I think we might be able to rule it out.
Oh, okay. I don't know when the first mirrors were invented.
I mean, who does? Probably somebody on the internet.
Wikipedia, maybe. I don't know. Anyways, it really doesn't matter. I mean, he could just look at his dick normally.
Like just down?
Yeah, just down. Just, look, there it is. It's nice. Is what, Nebuchadnezzar thought.
Is it? Is that what it says? Did you read it?
Huh? No, I didn't read it.
We're going to read it.
Yeah, we are.
We are. Are you ready to start?
Yeah, I'll try to be quiet.
Nobody told you to be quiet.
I'll try to be more correct.
That wouldn't be even fun.
It wouldn't be fun if I was correct?
No.
Okay.
Okay. So we're going to start off in Ezekiel, and we're going to get to the end of Ezekiel's ministry here. Okay.
Okay.
So it has been quite some time, I think about 2 years since Ezekiel got his prophecy of the temple prophecy.
Yeah.
The second temple. So he's a little out of practice, but a previous prophecy from Ezekiel was, you guys might remember, the siege of Tyre.
Mm-hmm.
And remember, he said that Nebuchadnezzar would destroy Tyre. We talked all about it. Because there were 2 Tyres. There's the island Tyre, which is evident what the prophecy was talking about, and then there's the inland city of Tyre. And they meaning like apologetics, Christian people who interpret the Bible, will claim that Nebuchadnezzar took Tyre, but he didn't take the island city of Tyre.
Right.
Okay. But that's where we're going to start today, is talking about what happened with Tyre.
Okay.
Okay. So in the 27th year, in the first month, on the first day, the word of the Lord came to me, Ezekiel, son of man. Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, drove his army in a hard campaign against Tyre. Every head was rubbed bare and every shoulder made raw. So that's talking about the inland city. They were pretty successful in the inland city, just tearing the shit out of it, right?
Okay.
Yet he and his army got no reward from the campaign he led against against Tyre, the island city of Tyre.
Right.
Okay, so he switches real quick because they did have success in one area historically. Now, this is historically. They did have success in the inland city, but not for the island. Okay. Therefore, this is what the sovereign Lord says. I am going to give Egypt to Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, and he will carry off its wealth. He will loot and plunder the land and pay for his army. I have given him Egypt as a reward for his efforts because he and his army did it for me, declares the sovereign Lord. On that day, I will make a horn grow for the Israelites. Now, a horn is just a symbol of strength. Okay.
Okay.
And I will open your mouth among them. Then they will know that I am Lord. So a couple of things here. It's been 16 years since Ezekiel prophesied about Tyre. And Nebuchadnezzar's armies laid a 13-year siege on them. Okay, so this is significantly later, all right, in time.
Yeah, but has it been 1 week since you spoke to me?
What?
It's been 1 week
Since you looked at me.
Since you looked at me. Never mind. Sorry, I was just trying to make a music reference there.
No, I'm looking at you right now.
We just winked at each other.
You didn't have to tell them that. Okay, so it's been a little bit of time since the prophecy happened initially. And because he hasn't gotten all of the riches that God promised him, right? That God said he would get, he's going to give him Egypt. And then he tells Ezekiel, which I think this is interesting because he tells Ezekiel, basically, you have a future role here because on that day, the day that the Lord gives Egypt to Nebuchadnezzar, God is going to make a horn grow for the Israelites and I will open your mouth among them. So he tells Ezekiel that he's going to be there and God's going to speak through him on the day that Nebuchadnezzar takes Egypt.
Okay.
Okay. Well, we don't hear from Nebuchadnezzar again. Ezekiel. I'm so sorry. We don't hear from Ezekiel again.
Okay.
So that's why I'm sorry. Ezekiel had quite a long ministry, about 25 years. And we don't know what happened to him. It seemed to suggest that he would have a future role, but nothing else additional was written or has been found.
Right.
Okay. And we presume he doesn't live until the exiles return to Palestine.
Okay.
We presume, because at that time he would be 89 years old. At that time, that's really, really old. You know, people don't live that long then.
True story.
So, but we don't know what happened to him. All right.
Okay.
So anyway, that's it for Ezekiel.
Fuck, there's no circus? Like, I'm fairly listen, just hear me out. I think that he definitely joined some kind of traveling circus, okay, after this point, because he's like, oh, my dues to God are paid. I can just go about my life. And I bet you he was always wanted to be a carny-folk.
Well, we don't know that his dues to God are paid because God tells him that he's still going to be using him.
Oh, fuck. Well, I guess we'll find out later what happens then.
No, we don't find out what happens.
Oh, well, I mean, if God's going to keep using him, then I don't know. God seems to be.
He didn't. If he did, it wasn't written about. And if it was written about, no one's ever found it.
That's because he was part of the carny.
It's because he joined the traveling circus.
He joined a traveling circus, and then he did amazing works wherever the circus went.
Except none of that's written about.
No, it's not. But I mean, why would they write about their travels as carny folk?
I mean, if he was doing miraculous things, traveling around the world, I mean, I would think
yeah,
that people
but I mean,
would write about that.
He could have been keeping a low profile, like, hey, don't tell anybody this, but you're about to get fucked up by God. Like, I mean,
it would seem odd at this point if he would want to keep a low profile given his history. But I mean, maybe he just wants to retire and like have people leave him alone
and travel with the carny.
Maybe that's what happened.
He could serve popcorn.
Did they have popcorn then in the Middle East?
I mean, if they got carnies, carnivals, then yeah, they probably do. I mean, this is the Bible. I don't know why we're trying to bring reality into this.
I mean, that's kind of the point, right? That's kind of what we're doing here.
What, bringing some reality to the Bible?
No, trying to find how it could comport with reality or how it doesn't.
Oh, wait, that's what we're doing?
What day are we on?
Like day 112 or something?
What? No.
Mm-hmm.
We've done at least 200 days.
Let me check my notes here. Maybe I got it. Yeah, okay. So, sorry, 212, not 112, 212.
Okay. We've been doing this 212 days for 212 podcasts.
Well, yeah, but I mean, I've just been kind of making fun of it.
All right. Do you want to move on?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's move into Dan. Let's talk about Dan.
Yeah. Let's hit up Dan.
All right. I know Dan is your favorite tribe.
Damn, Daniel. Yeah, Dan's always very relaxed. He's a laid back mofo.
But like the book of Dan and the tribe of Daniel is not the same. But
I mean, that's a good point, but still.
Well, did I say it backward? The tribe of Dan and the book of Daniel?
Yeah.
I think I said it, the book of Dan and the tribe of Daniel.
There's too many Dans here.
The tribe of Dan is just Dan.
Okay.
It's not Daniel. It's just Dan. And the book is Daniel. Anyway, we're going to talk about chapter 4 in Daniel. Okay.
Okay.
Nebuchadnezzar, he is still a polytheist. He's always been a polytheist, but he recognizes Yahweh God as a God and as kind of a more powerful, higher God than the others, right?
Okay.
Because he's witnessed his glory and his power and the things that he can do, right? And Nebuchadnezzar has fought against the Israelites and fought for Yahweh, right?
Okay.
Sometimes fighting for Yahweh against the Israelites because that's how God rolls.
Mm-hmm.
So he wants everybody to know about it. So are you ready?
Okay. Yeah.
King Nebuchadnezzar, to the nations and peoples of every language who live in all the earth, may you prosper greatly. It is my pleasure to tell you about the miraculous signs and wonders that the Most High God has performed for me. How great are his signs, how mighty his wonders. His kingdom is an eternal kingdom. His dominion endures from generation to generation. So that's the edict, which I think is interesting because he doesn't actually tell him about miraculous signs and wonders, just says that they're great and mighty.
Yeah.
So that's it. God is an awesome God. He reigns.
From heaven above with wisdom, Taco Bell, and God is an awesome God.
There's no way that there's a Taco Bell in heaven, except there might be one where they bring back the Mexican pizzas because those aren't on earth anymore. And that's very disappointing.
Yeah, it is. No, I was thinking about raining shit hellfire down.
Oh, and that could come from Taco Bell.
Yeah,
Got
that's
it.
when God has Taco Bell.
Oh, I didn't know. Okay. So that he issues that edict. That's all I have to say about that.
It sounded like Forrest Gump right there.
Yeah.
That's all I got to say about that.
But we're going to continue in the same chapter. I don't know, it's a little segmented, but here we go. Nebuchadnezzar had a dream, and he's going to tell his prophets and seers and stuff about it and try to get it interpreted. And of course, nobody can do it except for Daniel.
Anytime you hear, and then he had a dream, it's always bad news. It's always about how God's about to fuck him up.
Mm-hmm.
It's never good news whenever God has to go in dream form like Freddy fucking Krueger.
Well, I mean, that's true.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you ready?
Yeah.
Nebuchadnezzar was at home in my palace, contented and prosperous. I had a dream that made me afraid. As I was lying in bed, the images and visions that passed through my mind terrified me. So I commanded that all the wise men of Babylon be brought before me to interpret the dream for me. When the magicians, enchanters, astrologers, and diviners came, I told them the dream, but they could not interpret it for me. Here there's a footnote on the word astrologers.
Mm-hmm.
Again, we come across, which I don't understand. There's another translation of this word that could also be Chaldeans. And Chaldeans, as we know, is the same as Babylonians.
Or the outer space crustaceans.
Or that. But I guess we can presume, because of the context here with magicians, enchanters, and diviners, they're not going to use this word to mean Chaldeans because that's just anybody, right? Mm-hmm. So they're going to say they're going to use the astrologers, right?
Right.
So anyway, finally, Daniel came into my presence and I told him the dream. He is called Belteshazzar, after the name of my God, and the spirit of the holy God is in him. Well, the spirit of the holy gods is in him. Okay, so Daniel is in Babylon is called Belteshazzar. Okay. I said, Belteshazzar, chief of the magicians, I know that the spirit of the holy gods is in you, and no mystery is too difficult for you. Here is my dream. Interpret it for me. These are the visions I saw while lying in bed. I looked, and there before me stood a tree in the middle of the land. Its height was enormous. The tree grew large and strong, and its top touched the sky. It was visible to the ends of the earth. Its leaves were beautiful, its fruit abundant, and on it was food for all. Under it, wild animals found shelter. The birds lived in the branches. From it, every creature was fed. In the visions I saw while lying in bed, I looked, and there before me was a holy one, a messenger coming down from heaven. A messenger can also be translated as watchman here in this case.
Okay.
He called in a loud voice, cut down the tree and trim off its branches, strip off its leaves and scatter its fruit. Let the animals flee from under it and the birds from its branches, but let the stump and its roots, bound with iron and bronze, remain in the ground, in the grass of the field. Let him be drenched with the dew of heaven, and let him live with the animals among the plants of the earth. Let his mind be changed from that of a man, and let him be given the mind of an animal, till 7 times passes for him. Now, we don't know what this time period is the word times in this case can also be translated apparently to years, but we don't know that it's 7 years, and they only use this word times.
Okay.
Okay. The decision is announced by messengers. The Holy One declares the verdict, so that the living may know that the Most High is sovereign over all kingdoms on earth and gives them to anyone he wishes and sets over them the lowliest of people. This is the dream that I, King Nebuchadnezzar, had. Now, Belteshazzar, tell me what it means, for none of the wise men in my kingdom can interpret it for me, but you can, because the spirit of the holy gods is in you. Then Daniel, also called Belteshazzar, that is a very hard name to say.
Daniel is so much better of a name. Like, I don't even know why it's like, you know what? Daniel's too easy. Belteshazzar.
That sounds better.
Yeah. Obviously.
I always think of Shazam when I say Belteshazzar because it's so, I don't know. I think of Anyway, Daniel was greatly perplexed for a time, and then his thoughts terrified him. So the king said, Belteshazzar, do not let the dream or its meaning alarm you. Belteshazzar answered, my lord, if only the dream applied to your enemies and its meaning to your adversaries. The tree you saw which grew large and strong with its top touching the sky, visible to the whole earth with its beautiful leaves and abundant fruit, providing food for all, giving shelter to the wild animals and having nesting places in its branches for the birds. Your Majesty, you are that tree. You have become great and strong. Your greatness has grown until it reaches the sky, and your dominion extends to distant parts of the earth. Your Majesty saw a holy one, a messenger coming down from heaven and saying, cut down the tree and destroy it, but leave the stump bound with iron and bronze in the grass of the field, while its roots remain in the ground. Let him be drenched with the dew of heaven. Let him live with the wild animals until 7 times passes by for him. This is the interpretation, Your Majesty, and this is the decree the Most High has issued against my lord the king. You will be driven away from people and will live with the wild animals. You will eat grass like the ox and be drenched with the dew of heaven. 7 times will pass by for you until you acknowledge that the Most High is sovereign over all kingdoms on earth and gives them to anyone he wishes. The command to leave the stump of the tree with its roots means that your kingdom will be restored to you when you acknowledge that heaven rules. Therefore, Your Majesty, be pleased to accept my advice. Renounce your sins by doing what is right, and your wickedness by being kind to the oppressed. It may be that then your prosperity will continue. So Daniel tries to warn him and tell him, dude, change your ways and acknowledge that my God, Yahweh God, is basically the only God.
The Mac Daddy of all gods.
Yes.
He has got a pimp hand you do not want to cross.
Right. That's true. So that's what he wants him to do. And basically acknowledge that everything is by him and from him and for him and, you know, all the weird shit that God needs to get his ego stroked. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's how God rolls.
Yeah.
And if you don't roll with him, then you'll roll under him.
I mean, yeah. Okay.
So you can't disagree with that, can you?
No, I tried to figure out a way, but I
Yeah, I
didn't.
know. You're always trying to figure out a way to disagree with me.
Keeps you on your toes. So all of this happened to King Nebuchadnezzar. 12 months later, as the king was walking on the roof of the royal palace in Babylon, he said, is not this the great Babylon I have built as the royal residence by my mighty power and for the glory of my majesty? Oof. He's very, very proud of himself.
Oh, yes, he is.
He did such a good job. Even as the words were on his lips, a voice came from heaven. This is what is decreed for you, King Nebuchadnezzar. Your royal authority has been taken from you. You will be driven away from people and will live with the wild animals. You will eat grass like the ox. 7 times will pass by for you until you acknowledge that the Most High is sovereign over all kingdoms on earth and gives them to anyone he wishes. Immediately, what had been said about Nebuchadnezzar was fulfilled. He was driven away from people and ate grass like the ox. His body was drenched with the dew of heaven and until his hair grew like the feathers of an eagle and his nails like the claws of a bird. So basically, this is documenting a kind of a period of mental illness for King Nebuchadnezzar. And he was removed from his throne because he went to live outside with the animals and kind of lost his mind.
Yeah, God sprinkled a little bit of schizophrenia on him and, he got fucked up.
He did. He got fucked up. At the end of that time, I'm assuming the 7 times, whatever the fuck measure unit of time that is, I, Nebuchadnezzar, raised my eyes towards heaven and my sanity was restored. If all you had to do was look up, don't you think he should have done it before?
You would think so.
Like, I'd be like, dude, I really need a shower. You couldn't see me, but I looked up. Then I praised the Most High. I honored and glorified him who lives forever. His dominion is an eternal dominion. His kingdom endures from generation to generation. That's just because y'all teach each other. Like, that's it. All the peoples of the earth are regarded as nothing.
Damn.
I know.
That's a little harsh.
Interesting for like a God who cares so much about people and like pro-life motherfuckers, right?
Yeah.
People are regarded as nothing. He does as he pleases with the powers of heaven and the peoples of the earth. No one can hold back his hand or say to him, "What have you done?" I mean, I would say that.
Yeah. But
Fucker, what have you done?
I'm guessing what they're getting at is that you can't judge God. Only God can judge God.
Well, I'll judge the fuck out of God.
Oh, I'm right there with you. I'll judge his ass too.
I mean, if this was a being that existed, that's the interesting thing, because a lot of people are like, if we prove to you that Yahweh God, which is not how they would say it, they would just say God because they think theirs is the only thing. Mm-hmm. If we could prove to you that God existed, would you fall down and worship him? Fuck no. Have you read the Bible? Like, no.
No, we'd be the fucking Wolverines.
It's whether your God exists or not is irrelevant to me. I would not worship him anyway.
No?
Even if he did exist.
Fuck that God.
I mean, he's cruel. And like, it's beyond me. I don't understand how people read this and think that this is the way to be and the God to serve. And like, it's just, my mind, I just can't.
Yeah, it kind of blows my mind too, especially when dipshits out there say shit like, oh, Christianity means all lives matter. I don't think so.
Doesn't.
Not if you read the Bible.
No.
I mean, if you read the Bible, God specifically wants to kill a bunch of these people.
Read Dan chapter 4. All the peoples of the earth are regarded as nothing. Doesn't sound much like all lives matter, but you know, maybe that's just.
I guess they're nothing without God, right?
I mean, even with God, I mean, all the Israel had God. You know, God was on their side, and he fucked them up worse than most people.
Well, yeah, that's because they didn't only have God their side. So, I mean, that's the reason why they got fucked up.
Well, yeah. I mean, God's love is conditional.
Yep.
Obviously.
Exactly.
But they don't see it that way. And I don't understand how not.
I mean, I don't know either. So.
Okay. Anyway, so here we go. Let's continue. At the same time that my sanity was restored, my honor and splendor were returned to me for the glory of my kingdom. My advisors and nobles sought me out, and I was restored to my throne and became even greater than before. Now I, Nebuchadnezzar, praise and exalt and glorify the King of heaven, because everything he does is right and all of his ways are just. And those who walk in pride, he is able to humble.
Okay.
Okay. So Nebuchadnezzar now basically gives all glory to Yahweh God.
Oh, all right.
All right. So we're done with Daniel for now.
Damn, Daniel.
Yes. We have a minor, I guess, historical note to here that kind of closes out Jeremiah's ministry. We don't actually get a prophecy from Jeremiah, but it's regarding a former prophecy of his. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So I think this was 37 years earlier that this happened, like in time. Jehoiachin, who was the king of Judah at the time, was taken captive. Remember when Babylon, Nebuchadnezzar came in and they took everybody captive?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, so Jehoiachin was taken then. So in the 37th year of exile of Jehoiachin, king of Judah, in the year Awel Marduk, I don't fucking know how to say this person's name, became the king of Babylon. On the and this guy, Awel Marduk, is Nebuchadnezzar's son.
Okay.
Okay. He released, on the 25th day of the 12th month, because that's important, he released Jehoiachin, king of Judah, and freed him from prison, which Jeremiah had prophesied that Jehoiachin would be released from prison and be given honor, right? Mm-hmm. So he spoke kindly to him and gave him, this is the new king of Babylon. He spoke kindly to Jeremiah, right, and gave him a seat of honor higher than those of the other kings who were with him in Babylon. So Jehoiachin put aside his prison clothes and for the rest of his life ate regularly at the king's table. Day by day, the king of Babylon gave Jehoiachin a regular allowance as long as he lived till the day of his death.
Damn, why did he get an allowance? Like, that seems weird.
Well, I mean, kings often did that with people, like guests of honor. They had like, it was basically their pay. I don't know for what, but
no hard feelings, right? $500 a week for the rest of your life? How does that sound?
Allowance, I guess, can maybe also mean, I'm not sure. I guess I would have to look up what they mean by allowance, but I'm assuming it's monetary. But it could also maybe, because he says he ate regularly at the king's table, table. So it could also be like, this is his share, you know, like his share is he eats at our table. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like these are the perks of, I guess, just existing there at the time.
Okay.
I don't really know what that's like. Perks for just being around. Okay. That's it. We don't know anything else about Jeremiah other than this is how he lived out his days.
So we don't know. He probably joined a carney too.
No, he was in Babylon with the king.
He could have been part of a carney in Babylon. Who knows?
Okay.
Maybe he was there taking care of the garden. He became a master gardener.
Yeah.
At the Babylon Hanging Gardens. And that's how he spent the rest of his days, just caring for plants.
I mean, that wouldn't be so bad, right?
It seems very peaceful.
Yeah.
Maybe God will leave him the fucketh alone.
And the drawings of the Garden of Babylon or the Hanging Gardens of Babylon are beautiful. Though we don't really know if that existed in actuality.
But I mean, none of this matches up with reality, really. So it kind of makes sense.
Okay. So as we're reading through, there are going to be other prophets and prophecies like to come, but the era, the time of great written prophecies from Isaiah and Jeremiah and Ezekiel are over. Okay.
Okay.
So that's it for today.
So we're done with both Jeremiah and Ezekiel now. Is that right?
And Isaiah.
Okay. I'm glad that we're going to be getting more into Daniel.
We're not going into Daniel.
Oh, fuck me. God damn it. Okay.
We're not going back into Daniel. We're actually going into Job.
Oh, yeah. Job is next, where God fucks that guy up just for shits and giggles.
Yes. Just for shits and giggles. So we're going to start Job next week. And if you're unfamiliar with Job, God tests his faith. By being an absolute gigantic fucking asshole to him.
Okay.
And so that's pretty much what we're going to talk about. Satan, it's actually a challenge between God and Satan. Like it's a bet kind of.
Yeah.
And the pawn of this bet between Satan and God is Job.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So we're going to talk about what happens to Job and what he does in response, how he's personally afflicted. We're going to talk about a curse.
Okay.
And that's what we're getting into next week.
Okay.
I don't want to give you too many details.
No. I mean, we all know basically what Job is about, but I do have to say, I've never really extensively read Job to like understand it kind of thing. And I mean, it's been a while since I've like really dived into the Bible, dove into the Bible. So it's going to be interesting next week. I'm expecting to have a few surprises. I don't know.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, it is different reading the Bible from a secular perspective. Like it's when you're not a Christian anymore and you read the Bible, it's a very different read.
Definitely.
Right? When you're reading it from a more critical or more skeptical standpoint, and you're actually looking for these things to make sense. And when they don't, you're not making excuses for it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so it's much more interesting to me reading it as an atheist versus growing up reading it. And I did grow up Catholic. I know a lot of people say Catholics don't read the Bible, but I went to Catholic school and we read the Bible. We had theology class in school. So definitely something I have read before, studied, and it's a different experience.
Yeah. And, I mean, me going to private Catholic school when I was younger, we had religion courses, but we really just read the good shit. And that was pretty much it.
Oh, yeah, we didn't. We read it all.
Yeah, well, I'm sure that we went more into like maybe some Old Testament stuff, but the things that I remember are just like the good shit from the New Testament and stuff like that.
So it depends on how old you are, and because you went to Catholic school when you were younger.
Yeah,
see, I went to
Catholic
Catholic
to fourth.
Yeah, see. I went to Catholic school when I was older, and we did the first 2 years of high school theology were the first year was Old Testament, the second year was New Testament of school, like the whole year. So I mean, it was a lot of in-depth stuff. But it's interesting because when I look back and I don't recall it being taught like, did this really happen in history? No, but blah, blah. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't quite like that. So again, it's taught from a biased religious standpoint. It's taught from a believer standpoint. The guy who was my theology teacher was a monk. So I mean, you're obviously not going to get a secular education when it comes to biblical studies at a Catholic school.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's definitely a different experience. Even when I was in college, and taking various religion courses. And I didn't just take like comparative religion. I did take comparative religion, but I also took classes like on very specific things. Like I took a class just about Jesus in college. And so like when you learn, even in that kind of environment, it was still not really from a religious standpoint, but I feel like I was more skeptical then, obviously, than when I was younger, before I went to college, but less so than now, and didn't necessarily have the resources that I have access to now then, to kind of work my way through some questions. Cause you ask questions and you have to rely on your teacher, whoever's teaching you, professor, whatever. You have to rely on them to tell you the truth, the right answer. And when they don't, that's what you're taught. And you may or may not have a way to verify.
See, I never cared enough about the whole religion aspect when I was that young to even ask questions about whatever they were saying. Like the I know you did. A lot of people did. But, by the time I got to the point where I was like actually curious about things that I was being taught in school, I wasn't in church really.
Yeah.
And everything. So I didn't have to sit there and be like, oh, why is this? When I did go to church, I would sleep most of the time. I was not all that great in church.
Yeah, I would get in trouble at school, and I'm pretty sure that everybody in my grandmother's Southern Baptist Bible study absolutely hated me. Because even as a young child, I would ask her Bible study group questions that they could not answer, because it didn't make sense. It's not like I was trying. It wasn't like it was a gotcha. Like I was trying to learn. Something didn't make sense, so I asked. And then I would get in trouble for asking questions. And I think that's one of the reasons why religion never really super resonated with me anyway, is because even from a young age, when I was just trying to understand from a perfectly innocent, not even knowing that atheism was a thing. Like I didn't even know I was allowed to not believe in a God. Like I just thought that's what it was.
Right.
And I wasn't allowed to study other religions, so I didn't know any different. I was just trying to understand. And with that being met with such hostility, I always had this like question and like these questions in my mind, and wondering why it is that people were so averse to explaining something.
Right.
And I learned it's because they can't explain it.
Yeah, exactly.
It just took a long time to get there.
It took me a pretty long time to get there too. So I understand. But anyways, that's going to be it for our show today. Our podcast. If you will, please go down below. Let us know what you think about, the podcast or the Bible study rather. Let us know what you think about all of this shit about Ezekiel and Jeremiah and all that kind of stuff. So let us know down below in the comments. And hey, while you're down there, why don't you smash that like button and subscribe if you like this kind of content.
And don't forget to stand up and use your voice.
Bye, heathens.
Bye, y'all.